Thank you to everybody who's joined my members only site, thedominickcruz.com. I appreciate you. It's ad-free content. It's all the behind the scenes stuff. It's my jokes, my teasing, all the stuff I probably might not be able to get away with on the regular YouTube. So tune in. You don't want to miss it.
Dominick, the Dominator!
That is the dark sides of us that don't work, but they work perfectly for war. You can love somebody and still beat them up.
Yeah, it says you got in trouble for... No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I was going to say, well, we can get into that.
Slovakian figure skating duo in 1993.
What? Oh, that's my sister's post, dude. Oh,
He
my
recently
God.
posted a photo of him and his sister figure skating and caption said they were ranked number 1 Slovakian figure skating duo in 1993. Did he really skate?
No.
This is a real...
Bro, so that's my every year post to my sister. I troll her with something different every time. So there's one year that I did where I posted a video of Ryan Gosling was a kid doing like some junior high dance and said the girl in the dance was my sister.
Oh, wow.
And people were like, holy, your sister went to school with Ryan Gosling? And it was this whole like Disney Channel, and him and Gosling and my sister had this love interest and like happy birthday.
Everybody loved Ryan. Every girl loved Ryan Gosling.
Oh, dude,
then,
hilarious.
Right? Like,
every year, that's her troll post to my sister. And every year people are like, I didn't know you figure skated. I'm like, no, dude, read it. Really? You think so?
so, obviously family mixed into work. That's what you're talking about right now. Like you lighten things up with your family. Obviously you light up when you talk about your family.
Yeah.
Is it the same when you talk about, former champions that have worked, old training partners? I ask this because as a guy who's obviously come up in the gym, I've watched a lot of people come and go.
Sure.
And it's always kind of like a bittersweet feeling when you've got a crew and you guys have bled and sweat together.
Yeah.
And then it takes like sometimes one loss and that person just turns and their whole energy shifts. And I see it in the room. And, I won a lot with my coach, but there were times where I lost. And I always had the mentality of, if I can't lose with you, then am I really with you? Like, are you really the person that I was supposed to be with in the first place? So I always forced myself to kind of stay where I was at, because I looked at it like, even with a loss, my coach, if he's really here for me, can build off that loss and make me better off that too. But if I switch to another camp, there's no traction.
Starting too.
Yeah, there's no traction. There's no way to keep going. So you had a guy like Ngannou that was in your camp and then took off. What was that like going through that?
Took off as far as
he isn't training with you.
Oh no,
right
he's
now.
with us.
Is he still with you guys?
Oh, yeah,
Is he still doing these fights with you?
Oh yeah. We just
his head?
Yeah.
Oh,
we just had the Netflix card and everything. So I think the difference for Francis has been the fact that he's not living in Vegas full time.
Oh, that's I think what I was alluding to.
Yeah, and that part's very hard because you've seen the ground that we've got to make up when it came to the MMA game, and the nuances in the fight IQ, the situational awareness. Man, that's just reps. That's time on the mats. And then when he went over to boxing, all that shifted. He got a lot better in the boxing regard and his hand speed and the growth and things like that. But the leaps and bounds that we were making when it came to MMA, man, and then all of a sudden you put a hold on that, and it's that part was kind of tough.
Well, when did you start working with him? Because I saw that he was working with a different coach early on, but he wasn't working with you since day one in the UFC, was he?
No, he was with Ferdinand.
Yeah,
Lopez.
Ferdinand. There we go. Yes.
And then he moved to Vegas the first Stipe fight, but had Ferdinand and Dewey. And maybe another guy or two.
I remember he had Dewey in his corner.
Yeah. And then, I don't want to speak for him, but I know there was a lot of turmoil between him and the former coach.
Well,
and
I remember
that.
all we know is what gets picked up on social media. So I saw that on social media.
Exactly.
But the behind the scenes. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. And then it was after the Derek Lewis fight, he started training full time at Extreme. And then we as a gym were just helping him. So I started cornering him for the Junior Dos Santos fight. I was approached by Markel for the Cain Velasquez fight, Markel being his manager at the time. And he said, would you be interested in coaching Francis? I said, I'd love to, but I just don't know if we have or I felt like we had a good vibe. We had a good energy back and forth, but I didn't know how I could fit in as a coach for him. And then I was in the Junior Dos Santos camp in corner, but didn't really do a lot. And then it was after that fight, we go to dinner and it was just me and him. And I think for me, my approach with him was, how can I best serve you? In what areas can I help you? What are you afraid of? What scares you? And then kind of listening to him and hearing those things and understanding what approach I need to take in the gym to help him get to the point to where we know that he can be a world champion. And he disclosed those things. He talked about how he felt when he lost to Stipe and just how helpless he felt laying on his back and his cardio and the this and the that. And in my mind, it's like, okay, these are the things that I need to start formulating on how we can get him better and put him in situations to where these things that maybe once were you're vulnerable in, what happens if they can become your attributes? And he's like, I'll be the baddest man on the planet. I was like, well, let's get to work, So talked to Randy. Randy gave me some really good ideas on kind of help to cultivate that skill set and build. And then COVID hit, right? So we had the Jairzinho fight lined up. I think it got pushed back a couple months, and then it got moved to Jacksonville. But when we got the Jairzinho fight, for us, I didn't want to overlook Jairzinho, but my point to him was, our goal is to beat Stipe. So we need to build on this skill set now with Stipe in mind for later.
Yeah, it's facing him. Rosenstrike would prepare you basically for the champion. Instead of looking at it like this is the world beater, it's a tall order. It's like, no, this isn't even the top. This is just the guy to get you ready for the top.
Yeah, and think about this too, Dom, like, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not spending time on cultivating those skills in these camps that you have, right? You're in an 8-week to 10-week camp, and now all of a sudden it gets extended because of the COVID and the times and delay. It's like, well, we can really use this time to maximize these other areas that we need help with. And thankfully, like, Randy was all on board because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Well, everything's shut down for the most part. So I don't know. I remember when I was getting ready to fight on the only event during COVID.
Yeah. That was a Cejudo card, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And I had to train in a parking lot because I lived in California. I remember one time in our sparring, somebody knocked on the door while we were in there sparring silently, and you can't get any training partners because remember, everybody's also scared of COVID. Yep. Even fighters are scared of COVID at this time. So they don't want to go train with me. So I'm like a lunatic to everybody because I'm still training. I'm not listening to any of this because I know it's not real. And I'm not getting vaxxed. I'm not doing any of the shit. So I'm going against the grain and everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I'm like, I have a fight to get through. I made more money in that year than anybody because everybody sat down and I just ran through the walls on everything. I was scared of COVID for maybe a week before. And I was like, this is a setup. This is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. I'm not changing my clothes, getting in and out of the house. They're setting us up for fear. But during that time, it was so hard to train because you also had to stick to the guidelines that they made in California, which were very strict.
Super strict.
And so I was training and sparring one time and they knocked on the door and we all had to run and hide underneath the octagon. So we're all in our training gear and I'll never forget. I'm like, I feel like an international drug smuggler or something that I was just training.
Was it the health department or like OSHA?
Yeah. Health department will randomly show up and they hear, somebody will snitch on you. One of the neighboring people will snitch and say, hey, they're in there, I don't know, passing out COVID to each other or whatever, and whatever they say. But how did you guys train during that? Like,
we did the same thing
with Randy and them.
We parked in the back and it was like almost like a speakeasy type environment. It was like, hey, practice is from this time to this time, knock on the door. Yeah. We're going to let you in. And if you're not in on time, we're locking the door. So one time, Francis and I, it was just me and him. We were training in the weight room, and Bo Sandoval gave us like our workouts for the week. And we would hit our workout and it was like, all right, what do we do now? So we're hitting pads.
It's kind of cool because everything's shut down. So you get done and you're like, oh, let's go rip it down the freeway
my wife
or whatever.
Was pissed at me. She's like, where are you going now? I'm going to train. I'm going to the gym. I got work to do.
You have things to do while everybody else doesn't.
So, you've been in our gym. So by the weight room side, we had the roll door open, but there's a fence there that's like kind of, you can't just walk in. The fence blocks the roll door, but it allows airflow. And a guy, like an OSHA guy, walks up and like looks in, and here's Francis with no shirt on, power cleaning, doing his thing. And the guy's like, "What are you guys up to?" And Francis,
you should have a mask on.
Francis just rolled the door down. He's like, "Nothing, dude, get out of here." Like, what are you going to say to the guy?
Stop you guys.
Hell no. He didn't say shit. Wow. He goes, "We're closed." And Francis just closed the door. It was just me and him in there. It's like, what are you going to wait outside the whole time?
They would in California. They
really, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's when we sold the gym. Mm-hmm. It was too hard. You couldn't stay open.
Yeah.
In California, it was impossible. They just shut every small business down.
Crazy, though.
So Alliance shut down at that time while I was in camp for that fight. So it's unreal. Like I had nowhere to. I was trying to find places and then trying to find training partners. That was one of the toughest camps I've had just because of that, plus shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought it's interesting to hear how other people were training during that time because not a lot of people got to fight on that in those moments.
I think we were just very fortunate too. Like, you know, obviously I would talk to John Wood. He would hit me up. Hey, I so-and-so's coming by or whatever. There's guys knocking on doors. So we kind of knew if somebody was coming, we would make sure we shut it down or just wouldn't even open the doors and things like that. But you're absolutely right. Like that's kind of the protocol we went through. Is like, all right, Francis, you're on the card. He was fighting. We had Claudia on the card. She had Angela Hill, and Ige had Edson Barboza. So we were just essentially saying, hey, you get 2 sparring partners. Those 2 will be approved to come in, and we'll run it at these times. It was almost just like a boxing gym at that time, you know?
Makes sense.
So, but it worked out. And it was some of my favorite times too, looking back at it. Like we had a blast.
I did too during that time. I mean, I feel like that should go against what people think, but
sure.
I think certain people don't let the outside world control their life 100%. To an extent. Like even if it's scary or whatever, it's like you just got to read between the lines.
And it became a lot about perspective in those moments, because I felt like like you said, everybody was so scared and kind of hiding. And in my mind, I was like, oh, this is an opportunity to like take over.
Exactly. You know? That's how I saw it, because everybody's scared, and when people freeze, just keep going.
No, like that was the first year I won Coach of the Year was in 2020. So I'm like, oh, dude, I'm gonna get busy. Like,
that makes
this is
sense.
Great.
Yeah. So it's a mentality for sure.
Yeah.
So that probably fits really well with Strickland mindset mentality, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been training with him for how long?
I met Sean in 2014.
Okay. And, you know, Randy Couture's gym, Couture MMA, basically. How long have you been running that gym?
I was member number
or
1.
Leading
so
it,
I was
say.
the first, literally
member number 1.
Yeah, I was literally the first guy.
And were you training and fighting early?
I was training, wasn't fighting. I was going to school. And so when I got done playing football, that was kind of the biggest thing, like you and I were talking about a few weeks ago, was the camaraderie. You know, the thing that I missed the most was just being around like-minded individuals, guys that were pushing you. Trained a little bit and wasn't like necessarily looking to go and like, I want to be a pro fighter, but I needed something in my life, and showed up to the gym, and they were open, but just for Randy and the guys, because Randy was getting ready for Tim Sylvia, and Mike Powell was the first guy that I met, and he's like, oh, we're about to train today, and we're doing grappling or MMA grappling, and he kicked the living shit out of me.
Mike Powell was good,
though.
Oh,
bro.
He was way underrated, especially back then.
Yeah. I mean, like, he was the guy. You just
don't know about him a lot now. Like, when you hear it, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know all. But the general masses might not hear that name. And that's kind of crazy to think about because of how many fights he had in the UFC and how his
great
run
he was.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was in the gym yesterday. And so, like, he's in the gym and he's just giving some small pointers and stuff. And it's so nice because it's like having your big brother in the room. And you can always, like, you know, he's an encyclopedia stuff. But Mike was really the first guy that introduced me to the sport, Jay Haran. And then it was like, hey, come back tomorrow. And that was that, man. And I never left. I've literally been there for 20 years now.
So also another fighter, Aljamain Sterling, you've worked with. So you've worked with, name some of the fighters. I mean, name some of the list of fighters that you've worked with that are outstanding for people to know, like, why you're a coach that we're talking to today. You know, you don't bring just every coach in here. You're successful. You found success with champions. Why do you think you're a coach that fighters keep choosing? I think what's the list of people that you worked with? So name some of the outrights. So
the guys that I think for me, the longevity of guys that I've worked with for a long time, number 1 is Brad Tavares. Brad was my main training partner. Brad,
just saw him today.
Did you?
Yeah. In the gym. He's still in there.
Still in there, man. And he and I, he's a lot of the reasons why I'm here today is because he gave me an opportunity to be in his corner at a very young start of my career. And Brad is still, I'm still in his corner every day or every fight.
Right now you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I remember his last fight. It was a war.
Yeah.
I think I called that one.
Eric Anders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was back and forth. That was tough.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one. Who else? I mean, he's obviously been around forever. He's got like an insane amount of fights in the UFC.
Yeah. It was Brad
and he was on the
Campman.
Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, and he was Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. Brad and Martin were the first two guys I cornered in the UFC. And then from there on, it was just kind of like, I think just finding my footing and coaching and trying to understand how I can be a service to those guys in certain situations. Do I need to be a grappling dummy? And then Ray Cepho was fighting for World Series of Fighting. And Ray was like, hey, I want you to be my head coach. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, I don't really know how to hold pads. And Ray's like, see you on Tuesday, bud. So 10 a.m. on Tuesday.
And he let you just start with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tall order, actually.
Unreal.
And so he teaches you in a way how to hold pads by throwing on you.
Yep.
And what was the most you learned from that experience? I mean, Ray Cepho's obviously a legend.
Yeah.
Kickboxing legend.
Well, first of all, keep your fucking hands up.
He'll knock you out.
He'll knock you out. He'll break your shoulders.
Pads.
He'll mess your elbows up. Understanding, first of all, it was like, basic combinations and patterns. And then, okay, this is cool. This is fun. But then it was, okay, that's great. But now you have to learn how to correct technique. Then you have to look at defensive holds. With a guy throwing a jab, is he bow and arrow? Where's his foot? Is he bringing his back leg, his trail leg? Is this? So, and again, it was just time in and time out. And then it was like, hey, Jay's in the gym. Can I hold some rounds for you? Jay's like, yep, come on. I'd hold pads for him. And then after the rounds, hey, was there anything you saw? What can I do better? You need to do this a little bit better. I don't like this combination, or this is going to get a guy knocked out if you're doing this, or whatever it may be. Then it was Campman. And then, you're just exposing yourself to different guys and learning. The one thing I am grateful for is the fact that I didn't have these professional fights. So I didn't have a certain style or a certain, when I hold for Ray or Ray holds for other guys, Ray tends to hold for the style that he fought at.
You can't help it.
To an extent.
You really can't. Right? It becomes your DNA.
And it was really when I met Dwayne 10 years ago, and Dwayne just blew my mind with stuff.
Dwayne
Ludwig.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that's what I think where
he's a great coach.
Yeah.
And he's technical. He had a lot of, because of the fighting background he comes from, he taught it well too. It wasn't his style, actually. What he taught was not his style.
At all.
No, he didn't fight like that at all. When he was fighting, it was low kicks, left hooks, basics.
Yeah.
And he was like a Dutch style kickboxer. And then now he teaches stance switches and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So when you're sick, it's obviously a pain. Nobody wants to be sick. ZocDoc lets you search and compare local in-network doctors. They have more than 150,000 providers within 200 plus specialties across all 50 states. Why this is handy is you don't have to call the doctor's office. You don't have to go through the medical system. It's like a separate system. And you can choose a doctor of your liking, of your kind, according to what your problem is. So if I've got strep throat, you can find the right doctor for that. I don't need to go to the doctor. They're not going to diagnose me and then say, well, we got to send you to this guy, a specialist. You can skip the whole thing and just choose the doctor right off the bat. So let's say you could self-diagnose. A lot of times we're sick and we just self-diagnose. I think I have this. Just call the doctor directly, skip the whole system, and get right in there. ZocDoc can help you with that. ZocDoc's website has tons of reviews from real patients and detailed doctor profiles to help you choose the right one. See actual appointment openings and click to instantly book a visit. Appointments happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours, and you can even score same-day appointments. Your health matters, and taking care of yourself shouldn't be complicated. Find and book the right doctor with ZocDoc. Head to ZocDoc.com/cruise to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. That's ZocDoc.com/cruise.
I think that started to open my mind up a lot more to what the evolution of MMA was becoming. At 10 years ago, and I was watching you and I'm watching other guys but it was hard to break you down because you had a particular style that fit what you were trying to accomplish. And it'd be like a chef, right? It's like you can steal the recipe, but the sauce isn't going to taste the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I try to explain that to everybody when people go, I want to move. Like, I'll get it all the time. Like, how do I learn your footwork?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, it's like you can do your own thing, but it's never going to be the way you've seen me do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, I give patterns to practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to fill in the gaps with your own range, distance, timing, and speed, and make it your own is what I tell everybody. Be creative. Don't let somebody write the rules for you.
Yeah. And I think that for me in that same concept, when I met Dwayne, he would always say, like, there's not nevers in this sport.
Yeah.
It's too
new. It's too new.
Don't ever circle towards the power hand side. Well, why never?
Yeah.
What if I can circle to that side and draw your power out and I can pull it, or I can shake step, or I can
that's
create
the
a new
next
angle.
level of coaching. Because when we're talking about when we were, I was told constantly, do not change your stance. Now, like 1 foot forward, the other foot back. Don't switch, because I was taught by kickboxers or boxers, right? So when I'm doing stand-up, I'm learning from them. When I'm wrestling, I'm switching stance nonstop. When I'm doing jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I would leave wrestling and grappling and then go to kickboxing and boxing. And I was like, this isn't working, that you guys aren't letting me do what I just did when I'm going to need to do what I just did in a fight. So how do I... And it was messing me up to just stay with my feet standard, because in wrestling, you always switch and you're always finding rhythms and angles by switching.
With your penetration.
Yeah. It's penetration step. And also I can circle this way to get the step here on this side. So like in wrestling, you do that.
Right.
But in boxing, you have to stay fundamentally sound. And the reason they tell you is because of defense, which I agree with. So I was torn. Like, man, how do I work on my defense with my feet switching? If I sit still, they're going to shoot on me and they're going to kick me. And these boxers and kickboxers don't really understand the shot that's coming at me, that only I understand that. So when I started to realize boxing and kickboxing coaches at the time, this is 2007 to like 2017, in that time, in that 7 years, they didn't understand the shot part, my striking coaches, because they didn't do it.
Blend of level change.
All that.
Yeah.
They just didn't understand that if I stand in this stance you're giving me, all I see is a double leg.
Right.
All I see is a high crotch and a single, and I'm going to take that if that's all you give me. So my brain was like, dude, I'm not listening to you guys on this. And they get pretty mad until I met my coach, Eric Del Fierro, who, like you, didn't have a lot of fights. He trained at the Lion's Den with Shamrock and saw everybody get knocked the F out and stuff with clinch and all kinds of crazy shit. So he saw what it took, but he didn't fight. So he, again, didn't have, similar to you, didn't have the fight background. So when people would come, I noticed he wouldn't change their gifts. It was, that was what Eric was good at, was if I show up this way, I noticed he never told me I was wrong.
Right.
He never said, don't do this. He would see it and then go, okay, let's add these 3 punches to it, and now you have balance.
Yep.
So he would just tighten it up in little ways, and that really connected with me. The other thing that connected with me was him allowing me to train with whoever I wanted. It wasn't like a possession thing. It wasn't like you can't go over there.
Yeah, man, I hate that shit.
It's like, it was for me. If I wanted to go train with so-and-so, go train with so-and-so. Get all the rounds you can. If you want to go train at that gym, go fight them in the gym. Like,
just bring back what you learned.
Yeah. And
let's grow off
even
of
if
it.
that, he didn't care even that. He just was going to see me when he saw me and then use wherever I was showing up as, right? Yeah. Sounds like you were doing something similar.
Yeah, I mean, Dan's with Whitman and those guys right now, Ige. And, I love it. I think it's important. But coming from a football background, we did that quite a bit. Like, we would go to different colleges and high schools and learn, and what are they running and what playbook can we install and all those things. But I think that share of knowledge, not only is it show that you don't have an ego, but it's like, it pushes me to continue to grow and evolve, because people are going to try to catch up to you, or they're going to try to take what you're learning and growing from. So I don't really try to hide much of anything, right? That's like, all right, learn it, grow from it. But now how can we advance it? How can we make it better?
So some fighters might say, and I'm sure you ran into this, well, you didn't fight, so why would I listen to you? You don't know what it's like.
Sure.
I know I've heard that from other people.
Yeah.
Not about me, but you hear people say that about coaches, right?
Sure.
So what do you, like, what's your stance on how you are a guy that's continually chosen by high-level fighters, you know, Aljamain Sterling, Ngannou, Sean Strickland? What's making it work, do you think? What makes you a coach that's working at a high level?
I think my adaptability to the person, and I think kind of what you said earlier really hit home is I'm not trying to change a lot of the people. I'm trying to add more tools to the toolbox and find ways that I can help you evolve and grow from what you've already done really well. Like Francis fought for a title when I got him, right? So it's like, oh, well, how can we grow from this? What are the areas that we can exploit, or what areas can we get better? Let's break ourselves down. And I think too, like, man, I mean, I say this, like, we all have an ego, but I really don't have like this, like, I have to be the guy either. I want people to be able to cross train. I want people to be able to bring other coaches and training partners into the gym that we can all learn from and evolve from. You know, I'm 46 years old. That's never going to change. I'm not going to go back and have a career in MMA. I just can't, you know, not at this point. Early on in my career, that was very much insecurity of mine, right? It was very hard for me. And I remember in college, my offensive coordinator never played football. I remember calling my dad, who was, you know, he's a Hall of Fame coach, and like, man, my offensive coordinator, this guy never even stepped between the lines. And I remember my dad telling me, he said, sometimes it's the guys that have never played the game that can evolve and have a different perspective and can change the outlook on things that everybody thinks it's inside this box here. Well, somebody that has never done it can kind of come in and break the rules a little bit. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, I have areas that I can grow from, and I can find ways to be able to adapt to these guys and give them tools. And that was really it for me, man. Like, I love what I do and I have a passion for it. I think that part alone, when you show up to work with a smile on your face and you're energetic, little things like that, like, it does make that. I like listening to you and showing up with Jeremy Stevens to your camp, not knowing you and just seeing how you run things. And it's mostly that from what my experience of you is, you've got like a upbeat, positive personality. It's not just beat you down, you suck, or if you don't, you know, that's a big part of it. But also, you know, I don't know how you feel about this, but me watching people in the gym, there's a lot of fires to put out with fighters, generally speaking. It's like, it's like a crazy reality TV show that nobody knows is happening, but it's happening whether they want to admit it or not. And there's just no cameras on anybody. So you're just dealing with the reality TV show without anybody knowing. All day long. And I noticed that that's part of what the job of a fighter coach at this point is now. Also, it's not just fighting. It's this person, when they leave the octagon and when they leave the gym, they're no longer in the war mindset. Now they gotta switch, or do they? And I know that I've had lots of friends that I've trained with that never left that mindset. And because of that, when they left the gym, they started fires outside of the gym. And then you got to put fires out in the gym, out of the gym, at home. There's just drama everywhere, because this is the thing that nobody wants to tap into, is that loving parts of themselves. It's like, how do you turn that on? How do you turn that off? As a coach, how do you balance that? How does anybody in this sport balance that? Us fighters have love relationships, love lives, kids maybe, marriages, maybe just girlfriends, maybe none of it. How do you balance that and keep them around and not let, like, what do you tell them? Because the reason I ask this is, growing up as a kid, my coaches always told me, just dodge it. It's just too hard. And as I got older, I kind of look back at my mentors and go, man, were they doing that for themselves or for me? You know, is it because it's easier for them to coach me if they don't have to deal with that? But realistically, what I learned is these mentors sometimes just didn't have the skills on their own. And so they taught a young adult to shut certain things out. And I don't regret anything, but I notice the difference. And so how do you balance not talking somebody out of the things that are in their life because they're going to leave the octagon to go to them, but also not let those things burn them in the octagon? Like, how do you work with that? I mean,
it's a balance, no?
And you nailed it, because you're talking about 1/3 of their life is, you know, the fight game. Then you have your kids, you have the marriage, you have these other things.
And you can't just say, fuck them, be toxic, turn it off.
Not at all.
Or would you only rather work with a group of people that you can control that way and say that to?
Nope.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Or would you coach them to use it all?
Well, I think, you know, for example, it's like Dan Ige, right? Like I met Dan and I don't even think he was married at the time. He had a girlfriend, right? But now he's blossomed into this great father. He's got his 3rd kid on the way. And those are coachable moments. Those things are coachable moments. I look at Dan and I'm very proud of who he is as a fighter, but I'm even more proud of the human being that he's become. And not because of me, but because of the people that he's surrounded himself with. If I only tap into the fighter element, I'm missing out on so much of what their needs are or what's going on in their life. I go to Micah with my fighters. That's the sports psychologist at the PI. And I'll ask him, like, is it okay if I come? And not one fighter has told me no. And when you go to that sports psychologist and you sit there and you listen to what's going on in their lives or they're on their priority list or all these things, it gives me another layer of understanding who and what I have on the stool. When I look at a dude on the stool and he tells me something or I tell him something and I lock eyes with him, his first instinct's like, this guy knows me. And he's been there. He's been in the trenches with me, right? Or he's having a rough week. You know what I'm going to tell him to do? Hey man, take a deload, go take your wife out for dinner, go invest back into the family. The fight's over. The first thing I'm telling these guys, hand to God, hey, you better book a trip to Cabo.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because your wife just went through camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your lady
so
went through
what I'm
that.
hearing that stands out is that you're making it about the fighter more than your results with the fighter. And it sounds like some would say, well, I don't get paid and I don't get credit for making your life outside of the octagon better. I only get paid and I only get percentages and I only get credit when you win. So like I've heard this where it's like, so I need to tell them to get away from that stuff because those don't build my results. You're
the benefactor of the results.
Basically, like if I don't cut that stuff out, then they're like, for instance, some might say Don Ige, if you told him to, be more solo, hypothetically separate from all that loving conversation, find a way to just focus on building your anger, building your being solo and all that, then that could have maybe got him from certain losses. Some would say maybe certain losses came because you're pushing him towards his family when he could be training. And the guy who's not going through all that lives in the gym, does nothing but eat, sleep, drink, and fighting, they're always going to have the advantage, but I don't know if that's 100% true. How do you see that?
I think to each is their own.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because I think you look at the evolution of Sean. Like we met Sean.
Good point.
This dude lived in a fucking 1-bedroom apartment with a cot in the corner. That dude, by definition, is a fighter, right? You have your fighter, your competitor, and your athlete. You have all those attributes within you, right? So maybe early on in your career, Dom, your fighter was a 10. Yeah. Your athleticism was a 10. Maybe your competitor was I don't know. But once you start to get comfortable, you start making some money, right? The Chris Liebens of the world, what happened to the fighter element?
Right.
It begins to drop. And now you're looking at a guy who maybe isn't that athletic. Maybe he's not that much of a competitor, but he has this hurt, this anger, this fear that drives him. He wants to hurt another person. Well, how can you start to change those gauges as their lifestyles begin to change over time? And that was really Sean, right? Like Sean started to find a little bit of money, started to get a little bit more success. Now he's married.
Come. Go figure. Right? With the money comes the ladies. Is that a shocker?
Right. Yeah, it's weird, huh? It's weird how that works out. But over time,
where was she when he was on the cot?
He was not hanging out with him. I'll tell you that. Because I'll look at her sometimes like, what the fuck are you doing with this guy? You're a sweetheart.
It's just I find it interesting, not because like it's just when I was, being raised in wrestling young it's like, just stay away from the girls. They're going to mess up your chances, and that's just the baseline that I was raised by the mentors that I had around me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I learned as I got older, like, man, these guys just didn't have success in their own life with these things. They made that up for me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, how that's got to be one of the hardest parts of a coach, I think, from my experience, is like, you got to balance their personal life and the fight life and find a way to have them win. And if they're homegrown, you start them from the bottom and then make them a champion. You're going to watch all those things change. And at the end of it, what does their life look like outside of the title? Once they get all the success in those things, what did they build outside of it? What do they have to go home to? I realized that when my knees were hurt. Yeah. It was like, holy cow, I was so obsessed with this. I gave every single ounce of every single second to this, that when it was time to just sit down and recover and rest, I didn't know how. I didn't have anything to lean on. I didn't know anybody. I was like a kenneled dog, like, that didn't know how to be socialized with humanity. Sure. I just fought. That was it.
You bring up a great point, and this is something we actually talked about today. After we had drills, we'll sit down, and the group of us kind of sits, and we just go around the circle and just bring up practice or things going on in each other's lives or whatever it may be. And that was something that came up today. And I remember saying to the guys, I'm like, every one of us in this sport can say that we've probably given more to this sport than we've ever gotten back.
Good way to put it. That's even winning my title. That's why I said what I said after I won against Dillashaw. Like, was this the greatest day of your life? No, the greatest day of my life was realizing I don't need a belt to be happy. Yeah. Because of what you just said right there. Yeah.
The validation behind the things.
It wasn't that it didn't add up. Yeah. What I had gone through didn't add up to sitting here with this belt like that. This is it. Right. It's crazy.
Isn't that a weird feeling, bro?
It was super odd. And that's what made me come up with that answer, is that was on the spot. That wasn't like, I didn't think about it. He asked me, and I remember that was the feeling. It was like a train, all the cars, like the train stopped with that question, and all the cars just hit me. I thought about what I had gone through to get to that moment, talking to him and winning. And I was like, the way I felt after, like, my body hurt. I got hit more than I should have. I was mad at myself. I usually walk out of fights pretty unscathed, and it was just a good, hard fight. Right. And I was just mad that it didn't seem like it was enough. Yeah. Like, they already had a guy that they said was going to beat me. Right. I just won, and they're already like, but so-and-so is going to beat you. And you're just like, I get it.
Can I just get this?
And I know I couldn't, and I know nobody cares that that's what I wanted. But still, it still was like, man, this is a weird thing. Like, this isn't everything that I did, all the focus, all the cutting people off, I could have been facilitating it all if I had some support, some sort of mentor coaching in those areas. Could have been, building those things at the same time. Yeah.
I remember Robert telling me, like, he described when a guy wins the title for the first time, flawless. And he's like, why did they fall down on the knees and cry and all these things? And it's that release of emotion of just like thinking about how long and how far in the journey and all those things to get there, right? And then it was Randy who would tell me, he's like, but your hardest fight is your first title defense. Yeah. The hardest fight is your first title defense. And that was the first thing Randy told me. It was actually before Francis beat Stipe. It was before. Because I think, like, we felt like we could win that fight, but it was Stipe. Like, you never know.
Stipe's a beast.
But I remember Randy telling me that.
So good Stipe was at this time too.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a tall order, especially with Ngannou. He had raw natural athletic ability, power, all the things, but he didn't have a lot of experience. Stipe had twice the experience, and it looked even more technical the way Stipe was fighting.
The third DC fight gave me nightmares, because he started to use lateral movement and like shake steps, and I'm like, fuck. Yeah. Now we got a game plan for this.
He was improving.
He was getting better. Yeah. And I think that, to me, really is like what makes a great champion. When you see guys like GSP, when he fought Thiago Alves and Koscheck, and Diaz, he was beating those guys at their own game. Yeah. Right. And you're constantly seeing an evolution to his craft, and he's continually getting better, but lapping the competition. He wasn't letting guys catch up to him. He wasn't just, I won and I'm cool. I felt like that same mentality when Francis beat Stipe, we got the belt, and I'm like, oh, this is where now it starts.
Yes.
The real work. And I remember saying that we had the belt, and I remember looking at the boys, and I'm like, to Francis and all of us, the real work begins today, guys.
It's such a harsh thing to tell fighters, but I tell them that. And sometimes I see their whole face, just their whole soul drop.
Yeah.
When I said, your career doesn't even start until you get your first title.
Crazy, right?
It's crazy, but it really doesn't.
It's true.
It's hard to explain, but when I in 2010, I won my first title, and well, not first, but first like WEC title, which was as good as the UFC title then, because it was the only organization with my weight class that the UFC owned at the time. Yeah, you know, I had titles in Total Combat in 135, 145, and 155, but it's not the highest level, so you don't count it. But when I got that belt, I remember my coach told me, all right, now your career starts. And I remember I was like 14-1 or something. And I was like, just now? Like,
wait, what?
Dude, that was hard. Like getting to 14.
That was college, bro.
Like I remember thinking like, I kind of looked at him like, really?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
But I was champion, and it still like hurt to hear that.
Yeah.
That none of those fights before that really matter, because it just prepared you for where it starts, which is now. Now you're only facing the highest level. No matter what, it's going to be the number one best guy in the world behind you.
Ready to go.
Every single time for 5 rounds.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because we're literally in the back. And I remember Dana coming back and like handing us like a case of Hallerhead. And the next thing out of his mouth was like, when do you guys think you'll be ready for John Jones?
Oh, yeah. And you're just like,
bro,
what?
Stipe's still laying in the cage, bro. Like, wait a minute.
That's what I mean. And
Like,
you're a coach hearing that. You're a coach hearing that
Yeah.
and thinking that. And as an athlete, I just remember how, you know, I was still growing and learning about these things. And that would trigger me back then. Like, man, I just want a breath of air where you're not already matching me up with somebody that you're telling me has the potential to take everything that I just fought for.
Right.
Like, I couldn't wrap my head around the question when people would ask me. You just watch. I haven't even healed.
Sure.
And you just saw the performance I had, and you already have a guy that's better than me in your head.
Right now.
In your head, it's already there.
Yeah. You're already trying to book it.
And I get it as a promoter. That's his job.
Right. But isn't that such the microcosm of being the champion though? Like you said,
wild.
It's like, dude, it's now. Like, we need you to fight tomorrow. Like, wait a minute, dude.
Yeah. And you're like, can I heal my ankle?
Yeah.
Like, it's broken.
Yeah.
Like, can I heal my hands? They're both shattered.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares. When's the next fight?
I think the interesting thing too, to kind of tie into what you talked about with the coaching element in guys that are, you know, when they talk about percentages and things like that. And I get all that stuff, man. Like, this is your livelihood. I understand that. But once you can kind of give into the fact, like, how many fighters you're going to work with and maybe never make it, you maybe never make $1 off of. But if your intentions are pure in the fact of like, you want to give time to somebody to see them grow, to see them evolve. And maybe hopefully these guys, some of them can reach that championship potential. But when you know that you're going to give more to this sport than you're ever going to get back, but you have to be okay with it. I think for me, having Robert in my life and understanding what he went through towards the end there and being around it and seeing it, those are learning lessons for me. Although they were hard in the way that, you know, he ended his life, but there's learning lessons that you can take from those being your mentor.
I think like you're right. And I think the learning lessons are the key that you can get. And it sounds like as a coach, that's something that you focus on, is what can you learn from each of these fights to take into your normal life outside of fighting, right? And that matters to you as a coach.
Yeah.
What I've thought about a lot, and why the name of this podcast I made it Love and War, is because, you know, the gladiators didn't have to deal with anything loving. They actually, what's weird about it is we're gladiators, but you don't have to, but you kind of do. You have to mix everything. When you're a gladiator, you were in prison. So there is nothing, there's just no talking about anything except killing the person in front of you. That's it. And I feel like there is a type of focus and a type of strength when you're only dealing with half of the yin yang, which is the dark.
Yeah.
And you just stay in the darkness of the toxicity, of the aloneness, of the anger, of the shame, and the trauma, and use that to build off of, right? And as a gladiator, you have to, but as a fighter, as a highest level fighter in the world, now you're going to be on media. You're going to be an example, whether you want to be or not. You're going to most of us are trying to build our career to make living for our families, whether it be our immediate family or the family we're trying to build. There's something outside of the octagon that we're looking to get to. That's why most of us started this as a career.
Exactly.
You know, as a gladiator, you're just trying to get out of prison.
Yeah, I just want to live.
So it's like, I can just stay in the dark and just kill everybody and not care. And there is a focus to that. So that was always a question for me as I got later in my career is, man, is this working to just be using half, or is there a way to balance and have everything?
Yeah.
Can you have it all? Or is the guy who's willing to just sacrifice having anything loving in their life and separate it and just say, no, I'm going to not have that.
Right.
Are they going to always beat the person who tries to find the balance? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Because letting a little bit of that love, is that going to make you weak? That's the conversation as a fighter I used to be in sometimes.
Yeah. Love and hate are distant cousins that live under the same roof.
Dualities.
Right.
Yeah. Everything in this world is a duality. So you can't have one without the other. So the theory is that would make them one and the same.
Right.
So if they're one and the same, then why can't I have it all?
Right.
But then why does my brain tell me, no, I need to cut off anything kind, anything gentle, anything loving, anything that might take my mind off of the obsession of war?
Right.
Like, this is a constant conversation in my head. And, you know, with my mentors, it was, you're right. Cut off everything, focus on yourself, be selfish, just be toxic, whatever you need to win, it's helping you win. And, you know, I was successful to an extent in that portion. But then you get done with the career and you realize, holy shit.
That's the point.
And now I'm out on the other side, like, holy shit, I didn't really have a lot of practice in these other things for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
I cut them out.
Right.
And I have no regrets. That's not what this is about. But it put me in these questions now, like, holy, was that my choice, or was that where I was led towards?
And a lot of that might be just relearning too, like how to have relationships. And, you know, I think,
does it matter though?
Right.
Do you even need it? Or is it better to just cut it off and tell people, especially young adults, to encourage them to just, hey, don't even try, just cut it off?
Yeah.
Like, which direction do you think as a coach is the way to go?
The interesting thing too is, like, you'll have these spouses that really row the boat in the right direction.
Yeah, there's some that make it easier for the fighter.
They're doing their nutrition and they're on board and they're helping.
That's my point. So it's like, which is it?
Yeah. I think it's just a combination of that, though.
As a coach, that's your job, to encourage one way or another, though. So which way are you encouraging?
I would encourage more towards, I think, the love side of things, personally. I think most of our guys that we have in the room, they're married, they have kids. Me being married to my high school sweetheart of 20 years, I have 3 children.
Oh, that's congratulations.
Thank you.
That is rare.
Yeah,
what
very
you
rare.
Just said. Extremely rare. Which makes sense. You had a relationship and a life that works, so you understand this portion, which takes me to my next point, is maybe the mentors I chose didn't have that.
And the thing,
and I chose them for that reason,
right.
I think.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to stay safe from that, because this tortured me growing up with my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm just
that validation side of things.
I didn't want to deal with it, because he would come and go. So that conversation with love is just too vulnerable.
Right.
So I chose mentors that told me to cut it off, because I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
That's the right way to go.
How do you do with, like, when you get, like, compliments? People, like,
that's taken a lot of practice. And one of the ways that I worked on that was realizing, I'll never forget, like, when I was coming up 2010, I'm champion, and I'm just learning to be champion and to be somebody that people respect and look up to. Because I always had the conversation of, I'm a nobody. And when they started telling me, I remember this guy's like, oh my God, you're Dominick Cruz, you're this, you're that. And I remember thinking, listen, man, I'm just a normal guy like you.
Right.
I'm regular. Like, I get it. I appreciate your love. Thank you. And their whole face just melted. They were so sad. And I remember feeling like, why would they feel like I'm just making myself human like them? but they don't want a human. They want to give you something, and they want that because it encourages them that they can be it.
Sure.
And I realized like later after this interaction that I didn't receive the gift. And to complete the circle of giving, you got to be able to receive too.
Right.
And if
that's a great point.
And
man.
it's wild that I didn't, you have to go through these experiences and not just go through them in the moment and react, but then notice later. And it's taken me getting older and obviously going through these seasons to see this stuff. But that's why I'm better now than I ever was at receiving compliments. But it's a very vulnerable thing to receive a gift. You have to be open. I think
it's such an interesting point because that's what I've dealt with a lot with Sean in how to coach him and how to not dealt with, but it's part of the situation, right? It was his upbringing. And
we both got daddy issues, so I get it.
Yeah.
Every time he's been real resistant to me, I tell him like, I'm exactly like you, buddy.
Yeah.
And you don't get it. Yeah. I'm nothing like you. You're weird. He would always say, you're a freaking little weirdo.
So are you, bro.
And I'm like, yeah, you're just like me.
What's funny is like, I'll tell him all the time, hey man, I'm proud of you. And just, you can feel that. He doesn't, hey, Sean, I love you, man. And I know you love me too, but you don't have to say it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So I think for when Sean came to the gym, you're looking at a guy who was very nomadic. He was an outlaw. He was a renegade. And the first thing that I identified with him was, we got to give him responsibility. Well, why would you give a guy like that responsibility? Well, self-accusation. He feels a part of something, right? Hey man, we're not going to leave you. We're not going to abandon you. We're not going to kick you out. You have a home. You can fuck up. We all fuck up. We all make mistakes. But how can we rebound from it? How can we grow from those mistakes? And over time, he started taking more and more of a leadership role. And now that gym is a part of him, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you started, for me, that's where all of us, myself and Brad and all the boys in the room, started to see him thrive. He loved to show up to the gym. He was on time. He was calling out the guys that didn't have tape when he was the guy that never had tape, the guy that was never on time. Now he makes it a part of his responsibility as a leader, you know? So those are things that when I look at a guy, not because of the world championships, right? I just feel like we've made him a better human being. We left him better than we found him.
Right.
For here on out, when he becomes a dad, you know, that's the best compliment I get from him. He's like, man, I want to be a dad like you. I'm like, oh, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Not the coach.
And you can receive that. And so you're teaching him how to receive it too.
Right. But then when you bring him around, it's like you bring your children around the gym and he sees that side of you as a parent. You know, Dan Ige, he brings his kids in, vice versa. And you're around those types of environments and then you see that it's okay.
Yeah. And you know, I've heard the opposite too. Get those kids out of here. It's weakening up the room. Get that out. It's soft. You don't have your girl in the room.
Right.
And it can go either way.
Sure.
And so that's why I like to get different perspectives and different opinions. Nobody's wrong or right. But what I hear is your perspective as a coach is more, it's about the athlete than about your results for yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And if I was to tell anybody young adults, just cut it all off, I'm looking at my own results more than I'm looking at the athlete and how their life could go from there. And, you know, it's a tall order to be a head coach in this world because you don't keep your job unless you get results either. So how do you balance that? Like I need results. So I'm just going to tell them, F it. And that's going to be my coaching to them. But is that really supporting them, or is it more supporting me to say that?
Yeah,
that's the question.
But then I think you at times,
because he could lose his job if he just strings up 10 laws. That's a big fearful thing.
Oh man!
So maybe they're choosing that advice from fear instead of being loving and making it about the athlete first. Is there a possibility that, like you said, that whole thing can work and make it easier for the athlete? So I just look at it as a guy who chose just one side. I stayed in war and I said, even 2 weeks before my fight, I wouldn't talk to my mom. I wouldn't talk to a female. I would just stay locked in because to me, it was like letting in the softness. And I'm sweet. I'm nice to my mom and to my grandma and to my sister. And I'm a different person. I'm a much kinder, nicer person. And I look at it like the way I found my balance was be that until the last 2 weeks. And then the last 2 weeks, I get to tap into my ego. I get to be who my ego thinks I am, which is edging God out. So I allow myself to sink into the shadows, sink into the trauma, the things that pissed me off, the things that
the fighter,
it felt good to be mad about, and I could use it to win. And I just loved the freedom of that in fighting. I still love the freedom of that in fighting. That's why I love to fight even now, is because I feel like it allows me to be the villain that I want to be with. And you're allowed and you're encouraged to do so.
Was Eric with you your entire career?
Pretty much. I mean, I didn't have a coach my first 6 fights. Like I showed up to California by myself on a 2-day notice fight, and he was running the organization. And that's when he said, do you have a coach? You keep showing. I showed up to 2 fights with no coach and just had them bring people from the stands and put them in my corner. Yeah. Cause I needed to have people. Somebody, And he's like, you keep showing up with no coach and you keep winning. So do you need a coach? And I'm like, I would love a coach. That was literally the reason why I moved, I started fighting out of the region, was because I knew I needed to get out of the region to see if I was going to be good or not. Right. And so I got to 6-0 and then fought in California. 5-0, got to California, won 3 fights, won 3 titles. And then for the Uriah Faber fight was the first camp I started working with Eric in 2007. And, you know, I'm talking about all my mentors, not, you know, growing up in junior high school, they were wrestling coaches. And this was the direction that I was pointed. When you're that young, it makes sense. But as you start getting into, like you're saying, you worked with Sean Strickland since 2014, it's 2026. There's a lot of changes that happen to an individual, not just with the fighting world, but also in life. Just take away the fighting world, just life itself.
He almost fucking died in a motorcycle, right?
Especially that guy.
You know, bro.
And the bridges he burns behind him, like
all the time.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So balancing that's got to be interesting with guys like him, and that's. I always like to ask that question to coaches because I think it's an important thing, and especially as the sport keeps evolving, it's becoming, like I said, it's a normal thing to go fight somebody in a cage now. It's not just what gladiators do that are trying to win their freedom back. Right. We've made it like mainstream. Right. So that's different.
But you know, it's funny, like when you even talk about the love and war. So Edmund Shabazian, I paired him up more with Sean.
To get him meaner. Because he's just that dude is like he's the nicest guy. He's like a teddy bear. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Now what do I need from Sean? What does Edmund bring Sean?
Perfect balance.
Perfect balance.
I bet you that throws Sean off so much, dude. How nice that dude is.
And Sean will call him every name in the book in front of his face, and that is his response.
He laughs at
it. He just, dude, that's hilarious.
You know why?
He's like, Ed, you're a piece of shit, and you didn't show up for my camp, and you're fucking lazy, and you're this, and Ed just, all right, Sean. You know, just
everybody
happy-go-lucky.
You can see through the Theo Vaughn conversation that all Strickland wants to do is be loved.
Sure.
That's it. That's why I don't take that guy personally either.
No.
He's just a big softy that's trying to act tough.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Even like when we had that little bit of a blow up, me and him, that was his first instinct, was abandonment. Yep. Well, if you're not going to leave me before I leave you, I'm leaving you first. You know, and I'm like, that's where I fucked up.
Yeah, well, there's so much of that you got. That's why I'm asking, as a coach, you have to pay attention to these things and see and read between the lines. Like, that's what his dad did to him. So it's simple. Yeah, exactly. When you can actually see it. But that's not easy to be able to. That's like being a psychologist. That's being a fight coach. That's, you never
times
fought.
30.
Yeah, it's plus shit hits the fan, drama hits. Now you're actually like a cop. Right. Like you're trying to stop domestic disputes,
and
maybe.
Then on top of this, Dom, like, my dad was going through prostate cancer.
Yeah, you have your life too.
I have my life. I have a daughter now who's going to college next year. And, you know, you're missing out on all these things, man. Like, you're on the road constantly. You're missing out on birthdays and dance recitals and football games. Yeah.
So how do you balance it?
You know, thankfully I have a great wife who keeps the home together, and she's my biggest fan. Right. So I think when you have somebody who puts your job on a pedestal, but speaks good to the children about those things that you do. Furthermore, it's also important to bring those people around. Yeah. To bring them into...
What people? What do you mean?
The fighters. It's very important to bring the fighters into your family's lives as well.
Interesting.
So what I mean by that is, and this is something I learned when during COVID with Francis. Francis didn't have anybody here. we would train.
Most of us are transplants.
Right.
Most of us fighters, we leave whatever we had
and
to
move,
transplant
right?
to the gym.
You're here because of a coach or a PI or whatever else, right?
That was me.
So here we are during COVID, and Francis and I would train for 3 hours. He would go home. I would go home to isolate.
Yeah.
Right. And then I remember coming home and I said to Annie, I was like, hey, would it be cool if I invited Francis over for dinner? And all of them, every one of them was like, please.
Oh, that's cool.
Please.
Yeah, that's rare.
We'd love to have him over.
Because some like, I'll be honest, like I've had relationships where it's like, no, I want you all to myself. We need to have our alone time. You're gone all day. You're training all day. I don't want that mixed in here. And I've dealt with that, and it's harder.
Oh, man, I think too, like was for what everybody was going through during COVID, even during that time, right?
Also that.
And I said to Francis, I was like, hey, I don't know if you'd like to come over for dinner, but
during COVID too, you got a cool wife that she allowed.
Oh, man.
With your kids, like most.
But here we are.
Terrified.
I'm literally swapping sweat with this dude all day. So if he's got it, I got it.
Good
so
point.
Might as well come on over.
Your wife was sharp enough to realize that anyways.
Right. And I'll tell you what, Dom, like that changed a lot within our family dynamic. Francis became like an uncle to all my kids. And what I'm leading to is that when I go on the road and I go to Saudi Arabia for a month to be with Francis, my kids know what I'm doing. They know who I'm doing it with. Furthermore, Francis is always financially taking care of me, right? So there's that part of it as well. But they know where the time goes to the individual that cares. They care. They genuinely care that my time is taken away from my wife and kids, going to them, and it reciprocates back. When he comes into town, the first thing he wants to do is come over and see the kids and hang out and be part of the family.
Yeah, you found a way to make a ecosystem in that area, which is loving.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Right. And I think you have to though, right?
And he's still winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no right way to do any of this.
No, I think it's an interesting topic, right? Because there is that balance there. Like
I feel like I'm talking about it because it's uncomfortable. I'll be honest. It makes me uncomfortable.
Sure.
I've never been comfortable around it.
I'm proud of you, Dom.
No, it really is. And I like to bring it up because I'm uncomfortable in it. So I know it makes other fighters, other coaches, other people in this war world we live in to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not normal. And I like to learn.
Sure. Same. And, I'm very fortunate to have like guys like John Crouch and, Whitman and Dwayne and Brandon Gibbs, like guys that we stay in contact.
Randy's awesome. I loved talking to Randy, man. That guy, he blew my mind talking to him because of he said while he was winning titles, he had 3 divorces.
Bro.
I don't even understand.
Did he tell you the Gabe Gonzaga story?
Yes.
Did he tell you about?
Tell him.
I don't want to put him up. Well, I guess
you already brought it up now.
His wife at the time confronted him about some stuff before he was leaving to go downstairs and fight Gabe Gonzaga.
Oh my God.
Came up to the room and dropped it on his lap.
That was for sure on purpose, by the way.
100%. 100%.
I don't get how he did it. Hearing about that, first of all, you're winning at the highest level, dealing with that level of stress, plus kids mixed into it. Like, it's one of the toughest things to do is relationship. It's a choice.
Yeah.
I believe relationships are here to make us more conscious, not to make us happy.
Yeah.
And to choose that level of consciousness while you're trying to choose the consciousness that fighting is going to teach you at the same time,
100%.
You're tripling the difficulty load.
Yep.
And I liked talking to him because he reminded me how possible it is to have it all. He's still got his kids. He's remarried the 4th time now. It's working. Thank God for him. He almost died in a car crash. He went to the army, heart attacks.
Yeah.
Like this
Tried to roll out his heart attack on a roller. Like, wait, dude, you're having a heart attack. Go to the hospital.
He's just different.
Dude, he's different.
He is. And talking to him, like, leveled my mind up, like, of what's possible, to be honest, listening to his story. I love talking to him.
I'm so lucky to have him as my mentor, man. Like, not only for MMA, but for life. Right. If somebody's been through it, it's Randy. I remember one time, it was years ago, I can't remember what the fight was, but we lost and I was driving back home from like Mandalay or MGM. That's how long ago it was. and just feeling relieved that I can just pick up the phone and call Randy and just listen, and him talking me through a very young coach in my time, right? And him kind of walking you through that. Hey, bub, you got to find the love in the loss.
Yeah, he's just to even say that.
Right.
On. You had to have gone through hell to say that.
Right.
You do. People, you have to.
Right.
To say that thing, you had to have lost so much that you've got a relationship with loss.
You got to
say love it.
Yeah, you got to find the love in a loss.
And the irony is that's what I started with, is this whole world is duality. So if you can't have love without loss, you can't have a win without a loss. You can't have love without fear. You can't. So that makes them one and the same.
Yeah.
You got to find that it's a duality. So with, if you lost and you feel like a loser, find a way to be a winner out of that, is what he's saying basically.
Yeah. Where can you circle back towards gratitude within your life?
Exactly.
Like, young guy today, and he's so talented.
It's so hard to go through losses. That's such a key thing.
Right.
That's such a key, because that was what I had to touch on after my loss, is like, this does not make me a loser.
Bro, I love that.
I love Nate Diaz's too.
Sure.
Like after his last loss, he's like, look, all right, I'll just fight the second most dangerous guy in the world next time. Like that was such a real, it's like, he's right. Like I sometimes forget to tell myself that.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. I did just face one of the top 5 people on earth. And yeah, I might have lost, but
doesn't those circumstances feel a little bit better when at the end of the day you did everything that you could possibly do throughout the camp?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always did do that. I never had a regret ever in any of my fights. I always gave every ounce of my soul to it.
Sure.
And I think that's part of the reason why I stayed so separate from any of the loving parts of myself too, or exercising that, is because to me, it felt like I just didn't have the emotional regulation or tools to deal with loving somebody at the same time as being as scared as I was to fight, that I felt like I would be losing out on, like, I would look back and say, you shouldn't have.
Right.
And that was my fear.
Yeah.
And so anybody who would tell me you're right about that, I stuck to.
Yeah.
Instead of somebody who would encourage me towards love, I would not have the tools it wasn't comfortable. So I was like, I'll just stick to this guy who says fuck love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just super weird how that works.
Yeah.
Like how we just, we do what we can handle. And I couldn't handle it at the time, but it is important.
Yeah. Yeah. The constant balance of this sport, man, and it's like, you always feel like you're only as good as your last win or your last loss. You're never going to be perfect, man, and that's the sport that we deal with. But again, that's a sport that we love. Like, I love showing up to the gym every day. There's a consistency where I show up and I tell myself every time I hit that door, I got the best job in the world, man. So I'm so lucky.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And some would say that there have been undefeated fighters with no losses.
Sure.
So,
but he probably lost in life. He lost in certain areas.
Oh, they for sure do, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Like you look at Khabib, right? His record's unblemished, but I bet you'd give half that record away to have his dad back.
Oh man.
You know what I mean?
No question.
Right?
Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes is, perfectionism is my greatest flaw. And it's like, man, because nothing's really ever perfect.
Right.
We make it up.
Say it again.
Perfectionism is my greatest flaw.
Yeah.
It's
like that.
And it's like true, because me trying to be perfect is actually what stops me a lot of times from moving at all.
Right.
It'll freeze you in your tracks.
Yeah.
Because rather than take the risk, I need to be perfect.
You know what's funny that you say that, when you see guys outside of camp and they have to win rounds.
This is what I'm saying in practice. You see it all the time. Perfectionism is their greatest flaw. I will not take the risk. I will not open up. I will not, because if I'm not perfect today, I'm going to go home and beat the shit out of myself for getting taken down one time.
Instead of trying something new.
Instead of just don't be perfect.
Right.
Let yourself not be perfect. Yeah. And I've seen it in so many fighters. One of my gifts was I was good at being imperfect.
Right.
I hate to say it, but I found a love in losses. Like Randy would say, I wasn't the most successful winner in high school wrestling, I won more than I lost. I was good, but I wasn't like the guy that they're like, that guy's going to be an NCAA champion. And I wasn't that guy. I was just good. So I feel like I got really, I hate to say it, but I kind of accustomed with learning how to lose young and not be the guy, not be the one that everybody thought was going to be the guy.
Right.
And, you know, it was a weird balance that I had to learn. But it did support me in the end, because in the practices, I could take chances. I could get taken down. I could get dropped and come back the next day and just beat that dude's ass that dropped me.
Right.
Because I didn't beat myself up too bad, right? I could just adjust. So, but I can't tell you how many fighters I've seen that I've trained with, my training partners that would beat me,
right,
but couldn't unlock that perfectionism in a fight.
Yeah.
And so they were so nervous with having to be perfect that they couldn't unlock it and let it go.
What was your out of camp routine? How would you kind of approach your growth? Like, would you break yourself down, watch your own tapes, you know, even if you didn't have an opponent, somebody scheduled?
No, my key was just stay training.
Yeah,
I kept it very basic. I stayed in the room, and my thing was give back to the people who helped me get ready.
Yeah.
So I just stayed in the room. And like I said, I didn't have any other real things going on. Like I've had girlfriends in my career, but I was always very surface level, and I wouldn't let anything connect real heavy because it wasn't worth the risk at the time when I was young, with my lack of emotional regulation and with my lack of mentors to teach it and my lack of mentors to, you know, encourage loving relationships. None of that was there. So I just cut it all off. And so I stayed in the gym.
Yeah.
I was a kennel dog. I just trained all day, every day, went home, laid by myself, thought more about fighting, woke up, went and did it again.
Yeah.
That was it. Eat, sleep, drink, breathe. I would wake up in the morning, do a training session, teach, you know, up to 3-4 classes in the middle of the day, and then train at night and then go home. So there's no time.
Yeah.
I'd ride the bike to the gym. I didn't have a car. I lived in a 1-bedroom casita behind someone's house for 4 years. And that's just all I did from 2010 till I won my first UFC title. I did not leave the house. Yeah. I said, I'm just going to live as broke as, like, I'm a broke guy in a kennel dog, and just savage myself up was my mindset.
Yeah, that you always see those guys too, man, that where they come up living in the gym, living in the freaking janitor's closet.
We all do to an extent.
Right? And it's funny because those are the guys that at some point they don't appreciate signing the posters.
True.
Right? And I remember, like,
well, you can get lost in it.
Right.
You can get lost in where I'm at. Like, I remember when everything I have now was all I ever wanted. And you're signing the poster, and you could think that way, or you could just create a lot of pressure.
Right.
You can just be grateful for getting there.
Yeah.
It's a choice, but it's constantly
that balance. Yeah.
Emotionally regulating and trying to work through the thoughts and the pressure.
Sure. Yeah. When you would be out of camp, like the things that you would try to grow from or work on, like, how would you get your specifics down?
Yeah. I would focus on my gaps. And so I knew my biggest gap was offensive jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So I did a lot of jiu-jitsu and I did a lot of wrestling. On the pad work, I just constantly just did pad work nonstop, and I sparred a lot. So like that was more just like stay on pad work for the sharpness, the timing, the speed. And also you learn new tools. Like the tools I would do on the pads, I would now use them in sparring, and then how it cultivated. It would kind of like merge.
Right.
But I mostly would just focus on cardio.
Yeah.
That was like the biggest thing that I would try to keep at an all-time high in between fights, was like, if I keep my cardio super high but rest everything else, don't take as much blunt damage, I'd spar 2 times a week, and I'd do a lot of cardio and a lot of strength and conditioning, but I would kind of minimize the martial arts a little bit to get some healing. But I was kind of always doing everything. I think that's why I was hurt a lot too. Yeah. I did overtrain, I would say, because I had no way to leave. That's all I had.
All you knew.
Yeah, it's it. So it's just like, if I wasn't in there, what was I doing with my life?
Right.
I felt like I was just being a loser, because otherwise I should be working.
There's nothing else I should do, right?
Just train and live in the gym, because I don't want to go get a job. So what am I going to sit at home when I'm not training?
And that's at times my constant battle with guys in our gym. Like, this is your fucking job.
Yeah, that's it.
This is it.
That's how I looked at it.
Why are you late?
Yeah, no. That's how I looked at it. I was never late. I was like, because I had every shit job you could have.
Right.
I worked at Lowe's. I was El Conquistador, Valet Parker. I worked at LTD Direct Marketing as an outbound caller. I painted roofs in Arizona heat. I laid bricks. I did landscaping. I worked at Whataburger. Every shit job you could have from 18 to 21.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I did it. It pushed me into fighting. You know what? And it taught me how to like show up on time and realize to be grateful that I had this as a job.
Right.
Because I hated my other jobs. And at least I liked this one.
Yeah. That part at times as a coach kills me when guys don't understand what they have in front of them because of just just laziness at times or just being contempt. I can miss the warm up, like
it's all you have to do all day.
It's all you have.
That's it.
This is your job. You have nothing else to do, bro.
It's wild, right?
It's crazy.
It's almost like a righteousness.
Yeah.
It's almost like, it is lazy, obviously, but it's like, I don't know.
But you know what's awesome though, is when you get guys that reach that championship level and they don't have to hoot and holler or talk about it, but they show it within their actions.
Yeah.
Practice is over. Aljamain's over here skipping rope, right? You got Francis over here doing bike. You got someone, and then all you have to do as a coach, and the guy's like, man, how do I get to, and you just go, you see that guy over there? The guy mopping the mats right now? That's Sean Strickland. He just won the world title, but he's cleaning the mats.
Yeah.
Right? You got the guy over there doing extra work. You don't even have to say anything anymore because it's trickle down effect throughout the guys within the room that are just working.
Yeah, you got guys, what I'm hearing you say is basically you got guys being the thing rather than doing the thing.
Don't tell me, show me.
Yeah, and one of my favorite quotes is be, do, have.
Right.
Be it first, then you're not trying to do it.
Sure.
And then doing it comes naturally.
Right.
And then you get to have everything you want afterwards. But be, do, have. Be it first.
So what happens to the rest of the guys in the room when they see Sean Strickland mopping the mats?
I mean, they're just, all the pressure comes down that I'm just as good as him.
Right?
Yeah. And
this is not beneath me.
It's not rocket science.
Right?
Yeah.
So anytime I grab the bucket and I start to clean the mats, there's 10
they're
people.
They're coming to grab it for respect to you. Yeah, but you're
No.
also willing.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I can mop the mats.
Exactly.
Guys, you just had a hard-ass practice. I got this. No worries.
Yeah.
It's not below me.
Humility.
Right.
But I feel like fighters have a way of having that because we've had our asses beat.
Sure.
I mean, you try to get a basketball player, a baseball player, football player sometimes to be that humble. I think it's tougher because they haven't taken the ass whoopings we've taken. That's my experience hanging out with somebody. And they're making millions and millions, lot more money than millions of dollars. They're driving, they're just driving Bentleys to, like, how are you going to mop the mats driving a Bentley to the gym? Like, you just get treated a certain way so much that I could see how it would just cash out of their brain that, hey, actually I'm human like everybody else. Yeah.
What is your out of MMA routine, out of curiosity? Like what is
out of MMA, like when I'm now that I'm done fighting, you mean?
Like I know this is your life. What are you doing? Like you're hiking, you're reading books?
That's a great question. Leisure and recreation is what you're asking about, I feel like. And it's one of my biggest gaps in life. I've learned that I'm trying to, I think the biggest way that I find leisure and recreation at this point in my life is giving. So giving back. I haven't quite gotten to the stage where I'm not doing something to feel like I can't just sit. I'm learning to just sit still, kick my feet up, be on vacation and enjoy smelling the roses.
Sure.
That is like a very difficult thing, even at this stage in my life, for me to relax into. So rather than that, I give. So I do a lot of leadership stuff with people. I give back in different ways that, I don't talk about because then you're not being it. You're probably doing it if you need to talk about it. So, I do stuff rather than when I was a kid with my mom, she used to take us to the Salvation Army and we would always give to the homeless. You wrap up sandwiches for 8 hours a day and then you go and you bag them up and then you take them to a place and then you hand out to the homeless. And my mom, it was always a really good thing. It kept me humble, but as I got older, I didn't want to just give to the homeless. I wanted to give back to the world and community in a different way. Not that wasn't big enough.
Sure.
It's great. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs it. But I wanted to donate my time to people.
It's huge, bro.
Tapping into their aspirations, their goals, and their dreams, because that's the only thing that got me out of the trailer park.
Right.
Wasn't that I got a bachelor's degree or I went to college and I did the right smart thing. It was that I followed my heart and my passion, and that with no faith not faith, with nothing but faith and no proof that I was going to make it.
Right.
But because my heart loved fighting so much, I was going to college to become a firefighter, EMT.
You and me both.
That's what I was going to school for. I was trying to get my associate's degree when I was 18, 19, while I was coaching wrestling, while I was fighting on the weekends, while I was working at El Conquistador, while I was working 3-4 other jobs to fill the gaps, to pay my bills. And in that time, you know, I learned like, shit, like this is what I like to do, is fight. And by following my passion and my heart and not going the smart way, which is my mind told me stay in school.
Sure.
The mind telling me, but my heart told me get out of that. Go fight people in a cage because you like it way better. Like the only peace I had all day was in the gym.
Right.
When I would go to school, I was miserable. When I was at work, I'm miserable. I couldn't wait to get in the gym because time stopped existing. And by feeling that and having that experience, I like to give that experience away to other people in whatever their facet is. I want them to learn that that's in them too. They just got to find the thing that they're passionate about.
Right.
And I like to donate my time into people who are looking for that.
Do you read Simon Sinek at all? Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a chapter about that, about charity, about, you know, when people write a check and they hand a check over to charity versus when they actually see where their time goes and the energy goes, but the actual look and emotions on the other people's face and how appreciative it is when you're giving actual time. Face to face.
Wayne Dyer said, if you can't give when it's hard, then you won't give when it's easy. Giving is not a condition of the wallet. It's a condition of the heart. So it's similar to what Simon's saying.
Yeah, I like that.
And you got to find a way to give no matter what, because that's what connects us all. And I learned that later, you know, when you're just fighting and you're focused on yourself and you're solo, you know, it gets you to where you need to get, point A to point B.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where you got to start exercising other things in life too. Right. And, you know, in the 20 years, I'm not going to lie, I wish I was exercising some of these things a little bit more, but I don't regret anything the way I did it either. It's like, oh man, wow. But here I am. Yeah. And that's one of the things I do. I give back a lot. I love nature. Yeah. I like swimming. I like any sports. I play basketball. I do a lot of running, but really I started fighting because I loved fighting. Right. It was my passion. So I still keep doing that. It doesn't change for me. I didn't do it because I thought remember when I started, it wasn't legal and there was no weight class of mine. There was no Hall of Fame. We didn't have any there was no glitz or glamour around it. There was nothing. So I just did it because I didn't want to get arrested. I was going to fight on the streets anyways. It was saving my life. Fighting saved my life from having me do ratchet shit outside of the gym. It gave me a place where it's like, oh, you're going to encourage me to be ratchet? I can just fuck this dude up.
Get a Subway sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, dude.
Somebody's going to come in and be like, yeah, this guy just talks shit to me. I'm like, all right, let's fucking do it. Oh, what a relief. Yeah. For me, that was. Yeah. To just be able to be real and honest. And if you don't like what I say, just put the gloves on. Right. We don't have to discuss this. Yeah. And you think you're smart and you think you're right. And I'm just going to fuck you up and teach you don't know shit. I loved that. Did you see the sign I still love that.
On our big cage? You see the sign that we have on our big cage? Human resources.
Dude, it's so true. And you know, one of the hardest things about being done fighting is I leave that freedom and you go back into this world where everybody's living by these rules of, but I'm your boss, so I'm going to tell you what to do. Yeah. And you know, your boss knows who I am or who us athletes are. Like if they know that you're an ex-world champion and that they have your job in their hands, their ego gets boosted by that. Time. Yeah. I've got bosses that I work for now that I've got to just sit back and be like, man, you do realize that I could I could hold you in a front headlock for 5 minutes and you'd probably shit your pants without me even trying to submit you or hurt you. I would just hold you in a front headlock and you would just probably pee yourself. And you're trying to tell me that I'm wrong about this combination when like
if this was back during this day,
I would just throw you right,
fucking kill you.
Well, let's see if what I'm saying is wrong. How about we just go deal with it? And it's such a freedom. Then you get out of fighting, and it's like, okay, back to the working class. Like, they're gonna call HR. Oh, well, I see how you could see it that way. Thank you for letting me know.
It's
like it's so hard sometimes.
Bro.
And
is that
that's hard.
Do you miss the locker room, the boys?
Well, no, I
fellas?
don't, because that's why I'm smart enough to know if I leave that, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't leave it.
Yeah.
Why do you think you see me at the gym?
Yeah.
I follow Jeremy around.
Yeah.
I let him punch me around every now and then. I go punch people myself. Every now and then you got to knock somebody out. Because in the regular world, I can't.
Last of the
You got to play the game to
Mhm.
keep your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
In that world, though, it's so refreshing that I don't have to play a game.
Right.
I can literally I can show up and not be like, oh, I'm happy, because I could show up as Matt. You look like you're in a bad mood.
Yep. Let's fucking go.
Would you
dude.
like to use it?
Yeah.
You can go use my bad mood if you want to, and I don't have to appease this person.
Right.
I can just tell them you
Scrap.
know, it's just nice.
Scrap.
It's a peaceful thing for me. So, but again, as I'm learning the balance, it's like you can't take that guy. I don't want to take that guy home to my mom.
No.
Like I want to be able to snap out of it.
Right.
I do, but that takes practice. And so this stage, it's, giving and shifting into all you can do really in this life is be more conscious.
Right.
People don't change. You just become more conscious. And I notice my movements. I notice why I do what, where. I'm the common denominator between me and every failed relationship in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to me.
Yeah.
If it's to be, it's up to me.
Right.
I'm responsible for everything I created around me. I'm the source of everything that I have and don't have.
But there's so much freedom in that statement too, though, in a lot of ways, because I think when you acknowledge those things, like a lot of my shortcomings, why I wasn't a firefighter was instead of, at one point I remember like finger pointing, right? And then something like just hit me. I was like, no, the position I'm in it's because of me.
Yeah.
It's my fault. I did this. I did this to myself.
Yeah.
I was fucking an
It's a
idiot,
choice.
Right.
It's not a fact that
Right.
I'm responsible for everything, but I choose to look at things that way.
Yeah.
Because every time I point the finger, there's three fingers
pointing back at you.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You start to realize that it always is just me. I can't control you.
Right.
If you decide to sock me in the middle of this, how did I create that?
Right.
That's a choice. That's not a fact. I could be right about the fact that you're wrong for doing that to me.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, I can't shift anything now after that. I have no control. I'm a victim of you knocking me out.
Never going to happen, brother.
No, but I don't know. It's just interesting because you don't have to exercise any of that in the octagon.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing to me. And that's why I stay in the room. I stay coaching too. I love watching these fighters. And I have a vision of really supporting fighters and them knowing that, hey, don't make up the story that you can't have everything.
Yeah.
You can have it all.
Right.
You don't have to cut things off. You don't have to sacrifice everything. Yes, you do need to make some choices. You need to make smart choices. But that sacrifice thing is almost like a martyrism that I feel like a lot of people have in sports. You believe you have to have that in order. It's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I agree.
Make that up.
Yeah.
Now it is harder to mix other things. I'm not going to lie about that, but it is possible is the point.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just an interesting concept. And you sounds like as a coach, that's something you're constantly juggling too.
All the time, man. And I think especially with having guys like Randy and having Robert as a mentor, but also knowing and understanding what Robert went through towards the end there, and the pitfalls, I think, and knowing that we're in a job of servitude. And once you realize that and know that and you become okay with it, I think you kind of have that release of like, I'm just going to give my all, give my best. And
you're doing the best you can.
And I'm not looking for the $1 million paycheck. I'm not looking for the world titles.
Yeah. You're just enjoying the passion of what you're doing. You're not
the process. Mm-hmm. It's not the product anymore.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to work.
Interesting. So how do you serve Strickland as a guy?
Sure. Yeah.
So how do you support a guy like that?
I really don't when it comes to a lot of that stuff, to be honest with you.
Just let him do what he's going to do and leave it at that.
And it is a tough balance because, we have Jake Shields in our gym, right?
That too, yeah.
We got Sean. We have very opinionated people, and I value their opinions, whether I agree with them or I don't. But I also look at a guy like Jake Shields as one of the best MMA grapplers I've ever been around. So is it a disservice or a service to have him in the gym? But if he can't cut it off and not bring that stuff into the gym, if there's an Israeli kid on the mat, if you're not able to work with that guy, we have a problem. And he's never.
That's kind of my point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and that is to me the one commonality that we all share is there's so many walks of life, race, religion, creed. You walk into that room and one, we're going to roast you. We're all going to make fun of you, but we all love each other.
Yeah.
We all care for each other. When Sean made those comments about the, Muslims, you got Sadabu C, you got Mansour, you got Manel, you have all these guys in the room and they're like, hey bro, like we train together. And Sean's like,
oh yeah.
Fuck.
No, that's kind of what I mean. Like you have a weird thing. Cause he's going to say fuck at the end of certain things that he does. Like, damn it, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And then as a coach, that's why I ask you the question. It's got to be hard for you to look at yourself and say, man, could I have stopped him from effing himself or not?
And then as a coach, you're handcuffed to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. It's also like a representation of you that a coach could think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not really.
Right.
It's like a made up story that the athlete is you and you're the athlete.
Right.
That's not true. It's
at all.
an interpretation. It's not a fact, right?
There's been a lot of those.
It could be true for some people, but still it's not factual.
Yeah. Like Sean's never been to my house, like we're friends.
Yeah.
I would invite him over for dinner.
Of course.
But like, we don't do a lot.
He's not the uncle to your kids.
No.
Not like Ngannou.
Not like Francis, But that, and I think that's the balance. I think at times too, where he's a guy that like you see the value that he brings to the team.
Yeah, and
you have a guy like Brad who can speak to him because he loves and respects Brad. There's been numerous times where it's been Ray, Brad, myself. Hey, Sean, come here. We got to talk. And the conversation always goes like this. Yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, guys. I'll apologize.
No, I can see that. That's why he's not like even, I feel like some of this stuff he says, he believes it, but he's like not really all the way behind it all the time.
Sometimes to get a rise out of people.
He knows what he's doing. He knows how to piss people off, and it's funny.
Sure does.
It's always funny.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'll say that. So what's on the horizon for you? Like what's next for you, for your team, for I mean, obviously Strickland's champion now. That's a big thing. Who else do you have that's champion around you? Do you have anybody that you built from like nothing to the top that you feel like?
I wouldn't say like from nothing.
You know what I mean?
Like, I know what you mean, but
very basic.
This will be my 9th fight coming up with Manel. We're getting there. We're knocking on the door.
Looking nice.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, he's gotten better and
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, just got to get that weight in control and he'll be good.
He looked good. Like, we weight's down. We worked out today. He likes to eat. He loves to eat. That motherfucker be 2 a.m. I'm watching him eat a goddamn octopus.
Eating Louis Vuitton donuts.
Oh, bro. Right? What the hell? He was a little late yesterday, and I was like, this guy gonna come rolling in on a fucking elephant or something? Like, what's he up to now, bro?
Hey, who's got the red carpet?
Oh, man. I love that guy, bro.
He's dope.
He is dope.
I'm a fan of his style.
He's dope.
He's fun to watch.
You know what's great about...
He's great for the 25-pound division.
Oh, and he's finishing people. Mm-hmm. And what's great about him is like his coach, right, is every session I walk away going, I learned some good shit today.
Great.
From my guy.
Yeah, so you guys are working together is what the key to it.
And you kind of said it earlier. It's like the A in MMA is the art, right? He's the artist. My job as a coach is to provide the paint. That's all. Mm-hmm. Like, here's the paint, here's the canvas, and let's watch you go to work, my man. What do you like to do in this position? I like this, but I feel a little vulnerable here. Okay, let's change that. Let's do this instead. What do you like? Do you think this is a little better here? Yeah. So we're just playing with ingredients on stuff. But with him, bro, we just get to open the fucking playbook up.
Yeah, well, he's so dynamic with like every stance and every movement. He can kind of do whatever.
Sure.
He can do anything. Yeah. So,
and he's boxing based. He came up boxing. His dad was a boxer. Like, we'll sit and watch like Boots Ennis. We'll sit and kind of break down some of the guys that are boxing at that level and their movement and how they're creating things. And then for us, for me, with him has been, how do we use your stance switch elements within our cage control? How do we funnel guys into the traps, allowing you to be offensive in movement? And you got to see that in the Royval fight, you know, put him on the skirt, stance switch in motion.
He looks really good right now.
So he's been a lot of fun, man. We have Edmond tomorrow.
Yes.
Who else is coming up? C-Rod moved to the gym.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
C-Rod's
he's out
at the gym now.
All right. Now he's got all the bodies.
Yeah. A lot of good 45ers in the room, and he's been a great addition to the team as well. And I think that's an important element too, right? Like, coach, you know, this gym's been great. I'm like, you've also been great for us, man. You've been providing a lot of good knowledge. Today we're working on some stuff for his fight. And then he had that foot sweep he was doing against Melky Costa. I think he landed like 6 times in that fight. Hey man, can you give some insight on what you're doing in this clinch position? Oh yeah, you got it, coach.
Yeah, same thing you do with Strickland.
Right.
You give them some direction and they take over.
Yeah.
That gives them the pathway.
Yeah.
Something like something to at least have tread.
Yeah.
Stick to something.
You feel like you're part of it, right?
Which they are. And they actually are. And they're actually teaching something, so you're not faking it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got a lot of good guys up and coming, man. I think for me on a personal level, I got about 2 more months until I take my daughter off to college. So, you know, how do you spend that time? And, you know, I had this conversation with her. That wasn't too long ago, but you know, I try to go on like one-on-one dates with my daughters, right? I have 2 daughters. I have a son. I spend a lot of time with my son.
Yeah.
But for that dad and daughter relationship, I like to be present. I like to be able to sit across the table and, you know, talk. Like, what's going on? How's life? How's the boys? How's this? How's that? And they just really try to value that the next 2 months before I take her off to school. And I think for me, with her, watching her graduate last week and seeing like everybody in my family just bawling, right? And I couldn't crack a tear, bro. And I was so happy. Like, I was so excited for her.
Yeah, it was different way. You just have different way to use the energy.
Yeah. Like, I remember my wife, like, aren't you sad? I'm like, no, like, now, like, we're sending her, like, we did everything right.
Yeah.
Like, right. But, you know.
I know exactly what you mean.
And we're sending this proud. We're sending her off. And she's a product of what we've raised. And she's going off to school. And, you know.
Again, that's a mentality that has to be noticed.
Sure.
Like, you're in almost like an observer position to see where you're giving that to her.
Right.
And by crying, it's almost like that's about me.
Right. And
you're the same thing I said with you about the fighters. It's like, you know, you're wanting them to facilitate other actions in their life besides just sacrifice everything and kill because your results are my results. And if I don't get the results, then I'm getting fired. So you got to do what I say.
Sure.
Right. Exactly the way I say it.
Sure.
You're choosing other people besides your own results to an extent, what you get from it.
Yeah. I think the blessing for me, as well as being in this sport for as long as I have now, is having guys like Campman, Pyle, Jay, Gray, Maynard, and seeing their exits and how did they transition to other things in life. What did they have to fall back on? What skills did they build? Like, Jay is now a stuntman. He's an actor. He's doing all these other things. Campman did really well with his money. He was very frugal. We used to make fun of him all the time, but yeah, I think he had 9 fucking Fight of the Night performances in a row, some shit like that.
Campman was the man.
The man,
He was always knocking people out.
Fucking, and wars.
Yeah, but he had a weird way of finding knockouts.
Oh, dude, nuts.
Strange setups.
Well, it was like Jake Ellenberger knocking him into oblivion and then him coming out the next round and flying kneeing him, right? It was like he was just never clean at getting out with a clean kill. He always found a way. Like Thiago Alves, remember?
Yes.
Beat his ass and then he fucking choked him with like 10 seconds left.
I do.
He was just that dog, you know?
Thiago was sick too.
But he did such a great job of his last fight was not his last fight in his head. Right?
Campman's you're talking about.
Yeah. His last fight with Carlos Condit, it was not his retirement fight. It wasn't his swan song send off. His body just, you know, his brain, that was it. It was, he had enough concussions in a row and he spent a lot of time healing but he was smart enough to get his finances right in a way where thankfully when the sport left him, he was able to still have his faculties, but also have some money put away. Right. So my point is like, understanding the history of before us and how we can teach these younger guys
more.
More.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. What you're saying is what I'm saying. And I'm grateful to everybody who taught me everything. All my coaches.
Shit, even the wrong things, bro.
Well, that's the key.
We see the wrong things. We know what we're not going to do now.
That's the key. My dad is the biggest example of that, and I love him for that.
Right. Thank you for teaching me what not to do.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It kept me out of drugs. It kept me out of doing a lot of stupid shit.
Yep.
Watching my dad do it first and realize I don't want his life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I feel like that is the next stage of each athletes that come through to the next generation. It's like, what can I give back in this new level of thinking, you know, because more champions are retiring than ever right now to add knowledge to the sport. And that's going to build up the next lineage. And then more and more champions retire in the lineages, and then everybody's just going to get so good so fast, I feel like. And it's because of what you're saying too. Yeah. So, you know, the last thing I wanted to ask that I always try to ask people, which do you think is tougher as a man and as fighters in general for us to work under? Do you think it's tougher for us to be in war, or do you think it's tougher for us to be in a loving mindset?
I think loving mindset
is more difficult.
I think so.
Isn't it crazy that, I don't know, like everybody says, I don't want to go to war. And it's something they don't want, but we would gladly choose it over trying to figure out how to hug and love and be kind and gentle and listen to somebody. It's like, why is it so much harder?
Have you ever been on any like military tours and gone on those bases? And
I know a lot of special ops guys that are close friends with me, so I do a lot of one-on-one conversations them. And we talk about all this same stuff because love and war is a huge they're now trying to move into the other phases of their life. And it's the thing that's missing. Yeah,
that was one of my best friends grew up. He just retired, SEAL Team 6 guy. He was a Silver Squad guy. But, you know, going on these military tours and kind of learning and seeing at the basic training level of how the military is able to get these 18-year-old men and women to be able to work together and find a way to lay their lives down for one another, right? And build that camaraderie amongst one another. I think for me, it was like learning those things and stepping outside your comfort zone and going and looking at something that's bigger than us at the level of life and death for the war side of things, and how we can adapt and become better as men and leaders within our room. And we know you can die in the cage, of course, but why wouldn't we approach our sport the same way that DevGru or Delta would approach their days, right? How can we show up every day with the intent of being precise, being clean, taking care of your gear, taking care of your partners, taking care of the person next to you? And what does that build amongst the rest of the people throughout the room, right?
You're saying almost be more militant. Essentially.
Yeah, be more militant. But I think that for me, that's always been like an outlying approach, especially under Randy being in the military and things like that.
I asked him the same question and he said this was much harder.
Oh, man.
He's with you. I agree. I mean, we all know, but it's why we all dodge it.
Yeah. That was a great interview you did with him too, man. I watched that not so long ago.
He taught me a lot.
Yeah.
I love talking to him, and it's been fun talking to you too. I appreciate you letting me pick your brain on all this. It's a lot of deep stuff, and it's hard to be a coach, and I'm not in that full-time position for a reason, because it takes a lot, and it takes a lot from you. It's a big responsibility. So I respect you for choosing it and being successful in it, and good luck in everything else with all the champions you built and who else you're going to make into champions.
Thank you, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you will.